Welcome back to Blue Ridge Homestead. Today we were gifted these Maine wild blueberries. There's 3 pounds. We were gifted 10 bags. So we have 30 pounds of blueberries, and we are going to make some freezer jam with that. All 30 pounds is going to go into freezer jam. Some of it we're going to gift, and a lot of it we're going to consume ourselves. Freezer jam, once you thaw it out, it will last about 3 to 4 weeks in the refrigerator. In the freezer, 6 months, 8 months. I've had it in there as more than a year and still as good as the day we made it. But anyway, these are wild blueberries, so they're kind of small. And the recipe that I used is more or less for making enough with, I don't know, probably like 2 cups of these blueberries. With all 10 bags, we're going to have around 110 cups. So it's a big pot. It's going to take, what the recipe calls for is 27 pounds of sugar. We're not going to use that much sugar. We're going to use about 40% of that. So we're going to use about 12 pounds, 13 pounds of sugar in this recipe. I'll put a recipe in there with the smaller quantities, not this big giant thing here. One thing to note, blueberries will stain anything that you touched with it, so be mindful of your clothes and your countertops. We put a little bit of nutmeg in here just to give it a different kind of flavor profile, and we went ahead and put the lemon juice in there. Lemon juice is, for this big a recipe, is 3 cups. So once you put all your blueberries in, you take a potato masher and mash them. That's fine if you're doing it with with a small batch. But what I did was, and I got my emulsion blender, and it's just, it's like a stick, and you just all through there, and it done a fine job. I don't want it to be like soup, so I still want to have some of this natural texture from the blueberries in it. This is really cooking up nice, and it smells really good. So we'll come back whenever we are putting something else in it. Add the lemon juice. 3 cups in this batch. You'll wash and prepare your jars. Lids that you have that you take off of other things that you've canned, you can save those and use that for this freezer jam. It doesn't require to be really sealed up. You can use these lids from your spaghetti containers that you would maybe buy at the store. The jars that come on these, you can also use those to can in, as they're an Atlas brand jar. So our fruit and lemon juice and a little bit of nutmeg we put in there. Let's say you can use cinnamon if you want. It just adds a different flavor profile to it. So everything is boiled, and it's time to add our sugar. This is 10 pounds of sugar, so we're going to put that in here. And then we're going to stir that in. This itself will thicken it up a lot. But as you cook it, it's going to liquefy again. The sugar will melt. And what I'll do is I'm going to add the 10 pounds. And then I'm going to bring it back to a boil or close to a boil. And then I'm going to add the other 4 pounds into it. It's already melting into it real good. So it's pretty actually liquefied already. So I'm going to go ahead and add the other to it, the other 4 pounds. As much as we're making, if we were to keep this would last us probably well over a year. So I wouldn't make it all at one time unless we were going to gift some of it away. Like I said, that's 14 pounds of sugar. That's less than half of what this recipe called for, making this much at one time. And we don't need that much sugar in our diet. The fruit is pretty sweet as it is. So once this comes to a boil again, we will add the pectin. All right, so this is returned to a boil after we added all the sugar. I've cranked this roaster oven up to 475 degrees. I've added some pectin. I'm going to add the rest of the pectin in. Pectin is a natural starch or fiber that occurs in fruit. Citrus fruits are the highest in pectin, and it basically helps it solidify whenever it cools down. So I'm going to try to make sure this gets mixed in really well. I'm going to try to use this emulsion blender with the whisk attachment. The main thing is this is 500 degrees, basically like lava, and if you get it splattered on you, it's going to hurt. So you just want to use a slow setting and just keep that whisk head down inside. And just let that whisk do stirring for you. But make sure you keep it down inside of there. You want to make sure it gets stirred in very well. When you stop this, you make sure that stops all the way before you pull it out, because if you pull it out and it's still spinning, it's going to sling it all over you, all over the wall and everything. That's pretty much it. We're just stirring it up. Once we get it stirred, I'm going to bring this back to a hard boil. Once it gets to a hard boil, we're going to start jarring it up.
We're going to label this into our jars. Ooh, this is some high stuff right here. Almost, just a little bit more. Be in there. Okay, now we're done. Ready for?
Leave a half-inch headspace.
Leave a half-inch headspace on this jar. Next, okay, we're going to keep on going for the next one. Just a little bit more, we'll fill it up. Leave a little half space in there. Okay. That should be good right there. Okay.
All right, so once your jam is ladled in, just take you a paper towel, put some vinegar on it, and clean the rim of that jar really well all the way around. Like I said, you can reuse these because you're going to freeze it. This is hot enough, it's going to seal that again anyway. It doesn't have to seal because it's going to be froze. But you want to wash these, wash your rings, put one on there after it's clean, screw it down, just snug, you don't have to be tight, and just set it to the side. Same thing with, just repeat the process. Wipe it off, the lid on. Right there, that says turkey broth. That's going to be some really tasty turkey broth. And just repeat the same process over and over as your get your jars ladled. That's stew. This would be blueberry stew. This is salsa. That's going to be blueberry salsa for your biscuit. I'm just kidding. We'll change those so we know what they are. But like I said, it's simple as that. All right, here's our finished products. We ended up with 3 quarts, 12 pints, 13 half pints, and 11 quarter pints. Those little bitty jars. Got some that are decorative and whatnot. That one's got grapes on it and whatnot. But anyway, it's all destined for the freezer, except probably one jar we'll put in the refrigerator. Appreciate y'all taking a long ride with us. We are on the Facebook. We got a group on there, Instagram, of course, YouTube. So y'all come grow with us, and we'll see you next time. Into the freezer it goes.